friend, Ron Jaworski now. I mean, Ron, I don't know if you'll ever see this in your life again. You got two quarterbacks. I mean, am I right when I say this, Ron, that the AFC is driven more by the quarterback and the NFC Championship game is driven by great rosters?
Yeah, first of all, great to be with you, Dan. And it's hard not to agree with you. I mean, what I found really surprising when we were down to the 8 teams, how many young quarterbacks there were. And it certainly gives teams the availability to pay other players until these guys actually hit their big contract. And that's when, things seem to change. But as I look at it, there's kind of a real changing of the guard at the quarterback position and how the quarterback position is now played. And you've seen it through the high school level, the college level, and it's now leaking into the pros. And as I study the position, go back to the 7-on-7 teams in the Midwest and the Texas and Oklahoma, where they were developing quarterbacks that could throw the football 8 or 10 years ago. You're seeing them now get to the pros, the ability to throw the football and run. You see the offenses now integrating the RPOs, the run pass options, the zone reads. Quarterbacks not afraid to run the football. Now we don't know where that's going to end up, because in the National Football League, Dan, and you played the position where you hit people, right? And you didn't lay them down gently and say, "I'll be back in 30 seconds." That you want to bend their face mask, you want to puncture their lung. That's just the theory of the game, the way the game is played. So I don't know how long these players will last as running quarterbacks.
See, that's Ron. I'm so glad you say that, because I don't think it's sustainable. And I mean the guy in Buffalo too. If they don't straighten that out in Buffalo, he's the next Andrew Luck as well. I mean, you can't run reckless with the ball. I do think the guy in Philly's smarter, though. He really is showing how smart he is and how he runs the RPO. He may run the RPO, Ron, better than any quarterback I've ever seen run it in the NFL because of his decision-making. As you know, when you're a drop back guy, you're reading progressions. This guy's got to have even a shorter window at reading whether he sees a guy coming up where he hands it off, he keeps it, he throws it. He's more of a play caller than even the offensive coordinator. But my problem comes down to this: RG3, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, even Jalen. These guys are going to miss time, Ron. Can you build the championship team around a guy who is not going to be there every single Sunday? Can you build a title team around that and pay the guy $50 million?
Yeah, you can, but it's not sustainable. And I think what we saw with Kyler Murray, the injury, with Lamar Jackson, the injury, Deshaun Watson, his situation, you pay these guys $50 million a year, and they say Kyler Murray, he's not going to be back next season. So now you've impacted your entire team because you can't pay other players. You got a quarterback that's out for the season, and you're paying a quarterback probably like a $900,000 Brock Purdy type guy to play the position, but you're not the 49ers with a team built in place. So it's very difficult to have a quarterback. You give all that money, and I think teams are going to learn from that. It's going to be interesting to see how the Eagles handle Jalen Hurts, because he is a running quarterback, and he got hurt last year in the playoffs. Before the playoffs, he wasn't sharp in the playoff game against Tampa Bay. He's been hurt this year. Now, hopefully he can stay healthy, because you never want to see anyone get hurt, and you just want to see their performance at their best in the playoffs. But there's no guarantee. He was not the same guy against the Giants. He ran the football, but he was sliding, which I think is a great thing for a quarterback to do. But he is, and you said it, Dan, he is phenomenal at running those RPOs and the zone read. He really is. And they are, when you watch on TV, you think they're really easy. They are very, very, very difficult to execute. You are reading linemen, and then you got to read downfield because you're going to have a slant behind you or dig behind. So in milliseconds, you have to determine: do you give the ball to the running back? Do you pull it out? Do you read the corner coming off or in a corner cat or an end crashing down and pull it, go outside? Or do you pull it out and throw a quick pop pass? That happens so quickly. And there are very, very few quarterbacks, if any, that do it as well as Jalen Hurts. I think so. If it ain't broke, don't fix it unless you get hurt.
Ron, I think the NFC title game, I think this is going to come down. And boy, I'll tell you something. The emergence of the tight end over the last 15 years in the NFL, in my opinion, man, these guys, I mean, let's look at the conference title games. You got 3 of the top 5 tight ends
Dan,
that
I'm
are
going to interrupt you a second. You're not allowed to call them tight ends anymore.
okay. What are they?
They are receivers.
Receivers. Oh, that's right. They want to
wait,
get paid like wideouts.
That's right. Tight ends don't get paid. Receivers do.
That's right. They want to get paid. Thank you, Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
Hey, but Ron, I think the key is going to be Goddard versus Warner and Kittle versus the linebackers that I think TJ Edwards struggles. I think Kaiser White has struggled when it comes to covering backs and tight ends this year. And there's been a hole in the middle. And I wrote this down, Ron, from week 11 on. Matt Ryan, 77% completion percentage. Andy Dalton had 88%. Dak had 77%. There's a hole in the middle of that Jonathan Gannon defense. And if you've got a skill set tight end, like both teams do, you establish both those guys, it's going to come down to what team I think stops the run, in my opinion. Eagles are 16th. The Niners are better, I think, interior. They don't have the pass rushers, the Eagles. But, boy, man, this is going to come down to one key player. Who do you think that player is?
Yeah, Dan, I can't argue with what you said. You look at both of these teams. This is the matchup you want. You want the NFC title on the line with the two best teams. These are clearly the two best teams. When you get in big playoff games, two things I always look to. Number one, turnovers will determine who wins or loses the game. It could be a fluke batted ball. It could be a guy drops the ball. It'll be a turnover that decides this game, or the quarterbacks. And those are kind of the two ways I look at it. And my God, Purdy has played just unbelievable. I am so blown away because I played 17 years that position. I know how hard it is. And to come in as a rookie and play the way he's playing. And as I was watching early in the season when he got the job, when Jimmy went down, I'm kind of watching RedTube and watching him play and see how they're doing and not really, focusing on him. I figured, well, it'll take a little while before he gets benched or something happens to him. Josh Johnson will be the quarterback. Just didn't really know how it was going to play out. But then I started watching his tape because I every Monday morning I get all the game tapes downloaded at my house, and I started watching him play. And I'm going, this is not a 23-year-old rookie quarterback in his first few games. There was a certain savvy element to his game, and I'm not going to blow smoke at you. It was Joe Montana-like to me.
Wow.
And, I played against Joe, and I saw Joe in those formative years, and I spent a lot of time watching Joe. Joe wouldn't blow you away with these physical skills, his arm and mobility and all that, but he understood how to play the quarterback position. It's all about processing information quickly. Just like we talked about RPOs. They look easy. They're hard. Playing quarterback sometimes looks easy. It's hard. This kid comes in and makes playing quarterback look easy. He's in the right system, number one, because when you look at this San Francisco offense, there's not a whole lot of reading. It's kind of throw it here or there, either or. They don't give them a whole lot. The only thing I worry a little bit about is, Dan, with their offensive scheme, with all this motion and shifts and change, and I'll just get off tangent a bit. Peyton Manning hated that stuff. Offensively, he never did it because he said, whenever you had a tight end or a wide receiver back going motion and cross the formation, the defense changed their scheme. They made all these calls. Peyton would rather have a static look at the defense, and I agree with this, rather than all these shifts in motion. So with all the stuff the 49ers do, it's hard to play quarterback because everyone's moving on defense as well. That's why they are more of an either-or, either throw it here or throw it there system. And a younger quarterback can get into that system and play well a lot quicker.
Ron, I think the word is poise that I see with the kid.
Yes.
And I played against Joe, and what made that dynamic so great was that Walsh brought him along so well that, if you remember right, first part of his career, they rolled a lot right because they want him managing half the field. And once he had the vision, Ron, to see all the field, then when he got Rice, everyone's always like, well, he won Super Bowls. I go, no, he won it with Freddie Solomon, actually, in the first Super Bowl. No disrespect to my boy, God rest his soul, but he won with Freddie Solomon. But this comes down to coaching of Kyle Shanahan. Kyle does such a good job with these guys. He almost like boutiques these offensive game plans to Trey Lance, then to Jimmy Garoppolo. And I asked some of the guys up there, what was different from Garoppolo to Brock? He goes, It was just situational play calling. The plays were the same. Maybe the formations technically were a little bit easier for him to see because they didn't want to convolute it.
Yep.
Just talk about the job Kyle has done teaching him.
Well, it's phenomenal. And there are certain guys that understand how to coach the quarterback position and set the quarterback up for success. And, there's a certain skill set you have to play in this system. And I mentioned the processing information. And we also have Trey Lance. He's a big, strong guy that's going to rip throw, but he was struggling. He struggled with accuracy. And in this system, I think you have to understand you have to be a high percentage thrower. You can dink and dunk all day. Maybe you'll take a shot, but you have to be a high percentage accurate thrower. I don't care if you can run or not. You've got to get the ball in your hand quickly and get it in the hands of the people that make the plays, the running backs and the wide receivers, and, of course, the tight end / receiver.
Hey, Ron, do you agree when you have premium defensive players like Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, Nick Bosa, to me, man, I got a guy like that, and they're not with the same skill set that the Eagles have. Eagles have 410-plus pass rushers on that front seven. They have one. The rest of them are good run stoppers. I think they're really good against the run, the interior tackles. To me, with Lane Johnson, if healthy, Ron, with a player like Bosa, don't you run at him instead of running away from him? I don't want him making tackles behind the line of scrimmage and running down the line and scraping the line of scrimmage on me. I want to try to wear him out by the fourth quarter. Is that something you would do, especially with that O-line?
Not necessarily, and I agree. The Eagles' offensive line is phenomenal, one of the best in the NFL. Of course, the Niners have a very good offensive line as well. And one thing about Howie Roseman.
By the way, Merrill Reese said your line. I said that this may be the best line in Eagle history. He said your line right there with this line.
Well, I had left tackle and right tackle Jerry Sizemore, Stan Waller's both all pros. So I was pretty fortunate to have those kinds of guys. And Guy Morris, Woody Peoples, Petey Pro, they were all good offensive linemen. I'm not going to argue with Merrill. Trust me on that. he wants to throw my Super Bowl team in the mix. I'll take it. But here's what I always think when you mention run at Bosa. This is kind of he's a key to this game, by the way. And I think early in the game you will see him lined up against Lane. I think they're going to want to test Lane. He's got a pulled stomach muscle, groin muscle. I don't know. He got like mid-injury. They're going to test him because they're going to want to see Lane opted no surgery. So I'm going to wait after the season. You love the guy, man. He's a warrior. You want him to line up and play, but he's going to be tested. And so I think they'll put Bosa on that side to start the game and really try to test Lane Johnson to see if he will hold up with the speed and quickness of a Joey Bosa. But when you say go against Mailata or run left, I say this: Bosa's a phenomenal player. He will probably be the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he has played that great, and you could run at him, but he's like a linebacker / safety. He can avoid the blocks. He gets around blocks. His speed, his quickness, and when he has to take on a block, he's very good at doing it. So I don't know if I think you just try to slow him down, in a variety of ways, rather than say this is what we're going to do and pigeonhole him, move him around. And make the Eagles adjust to him rather than him adjust to the Eagles.
Ron, how do you see this thing playing out on Sunday?
Yeah, I think it's an evenly matched game. It's going to be tough for Purdy to play in this Philadelphia crowd. Everyone can talk about it. I was a player for the Eagles for 10 years. I played in this league for 17 years. The crowd can impact a football game. This Eagle crowd will be loud. It'll be noisy. There will be some offensive offsides, motion. There will be issues. But more importantly, what Purdy has to do is do not let it bother him. Now, this kid has showed Joe Cool composure. He's been very good at the way he handles himself, but he's never been in a place like this. He has Iowa State probably had big crowds, and you play Big 10 schools and Big 12, whatever it may be, and you play tough teams. There's nothing like he's going to get in Philadelphia. And I don't even know how you prepare for it. They can have crowd noise out in practice and all that stuff. If you're going to have people, you come out that tunnel, keep your helmet on. Keep the helmet on. Right? Hey, when I was a player with the Rams, we came to Philadelphia for a Monday night football game, right? This going back 1975. We were killing the Eagles. I'm with the Rams. We're killing them. All of a sudden, our trainers are running up down the sideline. Put your helmet on. We're going, what? Golf balls were being thrown from the 700-level Veterans Stadium. That's what you cannot prepare for. So it's a rabid Philly crowd. And, obviously, the 49ers are a great team. This is one, they're focused. must be just perfect.
Absolutely. Couple questions on the AFC,
Sure.
if I may. Here's what I don't like this week about the Bengals. So January 9th was the first time that you got a chance to start talking about contract extensions to the 2020 quarterback class, Ron. So you could start Jalen, and all this. So what does Mike Brown do? The first thing he talks about is, well, Joe might want to take less money so that we can pay the rest. I'm like, so you're already talking about this guy here taking a pay cut so that because you're cheap. You're the Bengals. This guy made you relevant.
Yep.
Jaws, when's the last time you talked about the Bengals in January? 2 years in a row.
Yeah, 2 years. I would say last year and 2 years in a row. I'm with you.
2 years in a row.
Yeah.
This is going into the best era here, and you've got two of the best quarterbacks. Zach Taylor, do me a favor. Tell me who he is. He's 5-1 now in the postseason because of Burrow. I had to look him up. I thought he was the president of the United States. Didn't we have a president named Zachary Taylor? I don't know. Who is this guy? And all of a sudden, you're looking at a football thing. Josh, I think that team's going to the Super Bowl.
I do too. They're playing terrific football, and they're a complete football team. And Patrick Mahomes being banged up right now with the high ankle sprain, that certainly impacts his ability to take away half their offense. Because if he can't move, that's a major part of their offense is what they do. But I feel this way about the front office people and GMs and director of player personnel. Shut up. And I say that to all of them. Yet, when you start getting the playoffs, you sometimes open mouth, insert foot, you get caught off guard. It's like, you know what? We love all our players. We'll talk to them after the season. We have to manage this properly. To mention, maybe you'll take a pay cut. That ain't a good way to start the negotiations, by the way. So I say just shut up, get a win, and then talk about it in the offseason.
Hey, Ron, do you think that Andy Reid's a better coach today than he was in Philly?
Yes. Yeah.
What's different about him right now? It's just
like when Dick Vermeil was a great coach in Philly, he was a greater coach when he went to St. Louis.
What's the common denominator that you see that made them better? Experience
and the ability to adjust to how the game changes. Dan, when you and I played the game, it was a different game that's played.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
It's a different game. In fact, I've talked a lot this week about the Kittle reception against Dallas. Our era, he'd be in bleachers. He would have got knocked.
Absolutely.
He would have got knocked in the bleachers. It was guys bobbling the ball and you whiff by him, going by him. Whatever the players now are so afraid of hitting someone because of the fines, the punishment, the kicked out of games, everything that's going on. It's a different game. Kittle would have been knocked in the bleachers in our era of football. And I'm not saying these guys are soft because they're not, but the way the rules of the game have changed, that play wouldn't have happened in our area. So in our area, it's that simple. So it's a different game. But back to the coaches, I think the coaches that adapt to the present day players, the players are different now. I go out to Nick Sirianni's practice, and I'm going, well, this isn't Don Shula. It's not Dick Vermeil. It's not Buddy Ryan. It's like, but it's that way everywhere. These
guys drink cocktails and martinis when you go out there.
I went to a Sirianni practice when he first came, and we're halfway through practice. I'm with Mike Quick, my old wide receiver buddy who calls the games with Merrill Reese. And the team gets together at midfield after about an hour of practice. And I'm talking to Mike, and I said,
an hour.
What drill do they go to now? He goes, they're done. I look, they've been in the field an hour. They're done. I said, okay, the game is changing. It's not, there's no two-a-days. There's no pads.
Two-a-days, excuse me. You and I had Ray Perkins, so I had 3 days. And you had Vermeil, you had 3-a-days.
It's a different game, I don't want to be one of those whining old guys, that.
Oh, I know. Get off my lawn kind of guys. Hey, Ron, just so my feelings again, like you said, let me tell you, these big mouth wide receivers, man, I'll tell you what, the reason they have big mouths nowadays is because they come across the middle and can't touch them. Back in our day, you had your mouth open, you had a fist put in it, or Jack Tatum knocked your ass out, or George Atkinson, or anybody, Andre Waters, any of these guys would knock you the F out. They want the game like this. And so again, I have to contain myself.
Ronnie Lott. I remember putting game plans together to play against Ronnie Lott. And we're telling her, like, the in-breaking routes are 2, 4, 6, and 8. 2 the quick slant, 4 the butt hook, 6 the dig route, 8 going to the post. My guys weren't running in breaking routes. Hey, listen, I'm not running 2, 4, 6, or 8. I run 1, 3, 5, or 7. I'll run those out routes to go to the sideline. Ronnie Lott's in that middle. And hey, I'm not going in the middle. Hey, the truth. That is the truth, Dan. They would not go because Ronnie Lott was in the middle of that field. They weren't going to get hit by him.
Last question for you, NFL-wise. You think Lamar leaves Baltimore?
No.
You think they give him the money then, that Deshaun Watson deal?
Yeah, no, I don't think he'll get that. But I don't know how it will all work out. But I think they have too much respect for him. I think they have respect for each other. I know there's a lot going on. There's a lot to digest here, but I think at the end of the day they'll work it out. I
do too. Ron, it's going to be a great. I think the Super Bowl comes out of the NFC title. I had Mike Golick on yesterday.
Yeah, but don't knock Cincinnati out quite yet. I mean, I got Cincinnati. Well, I'm leaning towards Cincinnati right now. Haven't made my pick yet.
But boy, I'll tell you, oh man, I can't wait. Ron, you're always awesome. By the way, golf tournaments, is there a website? You need anything out there? Anybody can go see your stuff?
Well, actually, my Super Bowl party is the Thursday before the Super Bowl. The Ditka Jaws Cigars with the Stars. 14th year been running it. It's phenomenal. We raise, close to $500,000 for at-risk kids in our community and former players.
How many years has that gone on? Because I could have swore I went to one in Houston or something. Did you have it in Houston?
Yeah, absolutely. We had it in Houston.
I think I went to that one in Houston when I was out there.
Yeah. Well, go to ronjaworski.com. There's, all the things that I'm doing. And the cigar party is a big event. I spoke to Kurt Warner this morning as I reach out to invite my boys in the business. We get the who's who of the world, and we have a blast, and we do good things. It's always fun to see. We get a lot of Hall of Famers, and we tell stories like when you and I are together, and we get a lot of great support from the present-day players. And I think when the guys realize if you're doing good work within the community, helping former players, they show up to help out. So I really get great support. I'm thankful for all the sponsors and former players and present players that show up and support what Coach Ditka and I, and we got Brian Urlacher on our committee this year to get some younger blood in there.
Hey, Ron, why did you decide to stay in Philly?
It's a great city. It really is. I love sports. Not only was I, an NFL player for 17 years, but when I come to Philly, also I'm a Flyers fan. I'm a Sixers fan. I'm a Phillies fan. I kind of like sports. I like the college game, basketball locally. So it was just a good community to raise my family. I had 2 daughters and a son. Now I got 7 grandsons. So we go to a lot of sporting events.
Man, I love that. And by the way, I showed the Robustelli picture. I go, you sent me with the Burt Bell. By the way, Jalen was named the winner of the Burt Bell Award, and that's the MVP. And see, to me, that's the MVP because my uncle won the Art Bell or the Burt Bell Award.
That was so cool. I did not realize that until we had that conversation. I got the Burt Bell trophy sitting on my desk at home.
Man, I love that thing. Hey, Ron, thank you so much. I can't wait for this weekend. I know you're always swamped, and you always find time for me. Thank you so much, my friend.
All right, let's have a great championship weekend. Can't wait to get to Phoenix.
You got it. Thanks, so
Dan.
much, Lon
Appreciate
Jaworski.
You, man. Love you.
Make sure you check him out. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you coming aboard like that. All right, hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.